don't want to prejudice the applicant.
And it's a tie. It's not, it's a tie, which
Right,
usually in a higher case, like, making a motion or something, if it's a tie, then it finds against. But in this case, it's a subset, so does it find against and become a de facto no or false in a tie? So it's...
I wouldn't think so, but that's, considering this element of the decision, but I don't know. So we have several options, and it would be up to the board. So should we come out of recess and discuss? Okay, the board has tried to research our issue. The problem we have here is that there's a tie on one of the criteria. We have 5 criteria to vote in favor of finding for in granting a variance. And if all of those 5 criteria are not met, then the board doesn't meet the standard to grant a variance. The criteria that we are split on is whether it's number 5, whether the use will not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the ordinance. We had 2 votes for true and 2 votes for false. So,
Will the chair consider a motion?
we have a motion on the table, and that's what we need to decide whether we are going to continue this meeting and seek the advice of counsel, or I'm open to other suggestions of what we should do. Pardon?
What if I withdraw the motion?
You can withdraw the motion right now, but that's, we still need to decide what to do as far as having the tie vote on one of the criteria.
Okay, I will withdraw the motion.
Okay, what about the second? Okay, so we don't have the motion on the table anymore, and our concern is we don't want to prejudice an applicant when it's a matter of procedure. We have newly adopted rules of procedure for the zoning board, and they don't cover this situation exactly. So we're in the position of having to ask for the assistance of town council, because this is entirely new to me as a relatively new zoning board member and chairman, and we really we need to seek the guidance, because we don't want to grant something that could later be attacked because it wasn't done properly. Okay. Yes, you may, Mr. Stewart.
I had a couple of ideas on that, and it seems like it was a lot of years ago that I was at a planning board meeting where, in a tie situation, they allowed the town planner to vote on the tie. But the other thought was that perhaps we could modify our plan in a manner that might be more amicable to Mr. Plummer, that would make him feel better about the project, such as a rear exit out on Pearl Street on there that was, the concerned citizen had mentioned on there, or something else that might make this be more congruent with what the town would like to see with the project.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I appreciate that, Mr. Stowe, and apologize for our procedural inexperience on what to do when it's the tie is not the vote for the variance or against it. It's one of the criteria, and we really can't move forward unless you meet all 5 criteria, and so that's our dilemma.
One other comment, just a note of interest, that we're in a lot here, sitting tonight of 1.495 acres with 2 primary structures on it, the Historical Society on the town hall and the town hall lot. So our own town hall is on an undersized lot for 2 primary structures. I have other examples and photos of that, but it's good to see that our very government building is a smaller lot than this one with 2 structures on it.
Right, as we know, the government doesn't have to abide by the rules and regulations. So, okay, members?
Brian?
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Murphy.
comments from the board.
Well, I will take comments from you.
You know, it's very telling what Donna just said. I couldn't agree with it more. But it points up something that's the fault of any zoning ordinance anywhere is that unless it's a planned neighborhood, the zoning is imposed after the town is there. By the people who are trying to seek the highest and best use of that property. The very fact that in the regulations that allow that makes their jobs as the zoning board of adjustment necessary is that you can't fit all the square pegs in there. There are plenty of these open, and that's what ZBA 6 is deciding on. I think oftentimes, and this is the fault of my own, we lose sight of the history of it when viewing purely through the ordinance lens.
Right. Okay, thank you. Well, I'd just like to see what the members would like to do. We could either reconsider any of our votes to move forward, or we can ask for continuance and seek counsel.
Does anyone want to reconsider the vote on number 5?
On number 5?
I would move that we reconsider the vote on question 5.
On criteria number 5? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I know I try to be consistent with my votes and views on how I see things, and it's really my personal view of the ordinance that a second building on this piece of property is just overusing the property. So that's why I feel it's not within the keeping of the ordinance. And I don't know, Freeman, you seemed to be okay before, and whether you have any reasons we can articulate why you feel granting it would be outside of the spirit of the ordinance.
Let's make it simple, okay? I don't find this use will not be contrary. I'll vote true on that.
Okay, so you're going to change your vote?
Right.
Okay, and I just want to, can we try to articulate, you think it's within the keeping of the ordinance to...
Looking at some of the other properties in the town, I would say yes.
Okay, and maybe seeing some of the testimony that Mr. Stowe provided after the fact that the town has its own 2 buildings on a smaller piece of property, and there are other properties in the neighborhood.
And given the fact that he's going to keep somebody in-house that's going to keep some kind of control.
Right, that he has a manager on site. Okay. Well, then I'll call for another vote on number 5. The use will not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the ordinance. I'm going to start with you, Freeman.
True.
True.
Okay, false. I still remain stubborn. But that's very good, and I think I would also just like to say sometimes the wording of these things with the not in the contrary, it can be very confusing.
Like a double
So I
negative,
think
it's-
sometimes, you know, and as we're going through the criteria, we have to think, do we agree or not agree with the way it's worded? So I appreciate your willingness to reconsider, Freeman, and that way we could move forward. So now I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the variance as presented.
Second motion.
Okay, Howard moved. Neil seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Okay, so that means that we have approved the variance, and we just wanted to mention,
We had a condition.
the condition isn't actually a condition, we just want you to note and ask, remember that if you intend to pave in the future, that you have to get a permit.
Right, yeah.
And in that permit process,
I've got that down.
that we make sure drainage was taken care of.
Right.
And did I miss anything else? I'm
Just the
pretty sure.
fence, you can put the fence in.
Oh, and fencing.
Roof fence
Oh, right,
in the
and
garage.
roofing, right, making sure,
on the
They don't
interior
steal.
exit out of the property, because I know I talked about that. And I wanted perhaps for the board to look at the plan, maybe look at the property, and if you feel it would be advantageous to have a rear exit out of the property, I will put it in, but I'd ask for the planning board to look at, or zoning board to look at it and say if they feel that that's something that they would like to see there.
That's really a bit out of their purview. That's Brian and I, perhaps, when it comes down to that level. Yeah, because this is not recommendable for site plan review, because it's just, it's in situ, so, yeah.
Right, but I appreciate that, and I'd also like to say I appreciate the improvements that you've made, Mr. Stope, in your properties, and I really do appreciate the management and how you have, you have control of your property, so we very much appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and I know it's
I'm just a purist in legalese, so...
we're going to try to do a better job in the future, because it's, it's fun when everybody's on board with doing a good job with things. It's more fun and everybody's happy, so it's been working out well for us as far as enjoying what we're doing, and
All right. Right. Make the kids do it, Arlene.
Do we have to throw this one out, too?
No, that's just extra.
Okay, did we, yeah, let me see, I think we,
Lost my agenda, I have too much paper.
do we have any new business?
Just the 2012 ZBA schedules I passed out.
Okay. And I'm sorry, did we have any unfinished business from the last time?
No, we did not.
We just need signatures? Okay, do we-
Who's such a motion to adjourn?
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's never a questionable vote. Thank you.
Stumbling along.
Yeah, go out there and proselytize and solicit, because we're just, it's tough.
That was crazy.
Tense.
Tense, I mean, oh, here. Good job on the pictures, too.
Yeah, you did a great presentation.
Who gave the second on that? My brain is cooked.
On what?
On the motion to adjourn.
Freeman.
Always.
Here, so they can say, here, I'll give it back. Let me give them his. Do you guys need your photos?
I'll keep them. Yeah, for the
them in the
main
file.
file. Yeah.
Yeah, those were
evidence.
nice. Good job.
Yeah. Well, that's, you need, that's, yeah, was a good job. These procedural things, I mean, unfortunately, if you...
If you go out there and you take a look at that hill, it is so steep.
Yeah, see,
You
that's what I
know,
mean, a
if they-
second access, I'm
if
not
he
sure about
decides
that,
to
if it'll
pay
improve it or make
more
it worse.
No, I understood what you were saying, I just, I knew it came under there was scrutiny in place. There was scrutiny in place, but it's not a bad thing to mention. No, you're absolutely right, because it is steep.
Okay, so this, let's see, keep this with the procedure.
I didn't mean to put you on the
That's a
spot, I just had to make sure we were all talking about the same
I
thing.
think I built
Oh, it's gorgeous
built
house.
part of that wall. The wall down near Pearl Street, I built the end of that wall.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house, it really is.
Sorry.
I think he really should have some kind of emergency access on Pearl Street. I think it's really tight.
Well, right, and it is, no, I don't either. It is dense, so no, that's not a bad thing, and that's where, Tom Morrison.
So that's just, I don't like to open up too many doors.
Keep the cans of worms to a minimum. Well, I'm glad we backed out of that, but,